Okay, let's check the audio, make sure that is A-OK. Testing 1, 2, 3, testing for an audio check. Okay, audio is good. All right, we'll get started here, folks, in about a minute. All right, welcome everybody to Stock Analysis Friday. It's great to have you here. Today is May 5th, 2023. All right, so we're here today to share our stocks that we want to look at today. Usually we find some really good ones, so it's a great place to come, almost like a stock opportunity or stock picking service. So go ahead and type your symbols in right now, and you can type them in caps, please. That makes it easier for me to see. And we'll get started on that in just a moment. I got a few administrational items I'm going to go through first. Just also a little note here, next week, we will be skipping next week. We have a commitment on Friday, so we will not be here for next week, but then we'll pick it up again the week after that. So the next scheduled Stock Analysis Friday will be basically 2 weeks from now. All right, let me get going here. I want to go through some administrational things and we'll start taking a look at some stocks. We want you to also be aware that there are risks involved in trading. Like I always say, without those risks, there is no opportunity. So the two really go hand in hand, but you need to be aware of them and also account for them. And you account for them by using good risk control, but also trading with money you can afford to risk. Okay, that's really important. Also, any of the stock opportunities we suggest here, please run them by your financial advisor or money manager to be sure they're suitable for you. All right, past performance doesn't guarantee future performance, and we deal in a realm of probabilities when we trade the financial markets, and so nothing can be guaranteed. All right, we have many books available on money management, on trading the markets, on Elliott Wave, different forms of technical analysis. You can check out those. I'll put the link in the recording of this session, or you can just go to our website to look at those. And then also, I have a whole suite of proprietary software I've created over the last 30 years of trading the financial markets. We have charting software, we have scanners, and we have risk control software. So we really try to cover the full spectrum of what you need to be successful in this business. And so we call that the ultimate trading system. And again, you can go to our website and check that out. And I'll put a link up in the recording if you're watching that. All right, finally, please like, subscribe, and share us to your friends. The more people we get here, the more stocks we can look at, so the more opportunities, that type of thing. And then finally, thank you for taking the time to join us today. Or if you're watching the recording, great to have you here as well. And we'll see you again in future sessions, but great to have you here. All right, let me come out of here, and I want to just take a few look at a few things here. Give me 1 second. I just got to set up the data box here on the far right-hand side. Okay, last week we suggested Amazon. We still like it. Okay, Amazon looks really, really good. And so we're kind of thinking that's still a good buy. We've got green, or let me just go over our indicators here. We have a green owl. This is the owl, which is a histogram. And notice that there's three charts. There's a 60, a daily, and a weekly. The weekly is the long-term chart. The daily is the intermediate, and the 60 is our short term. So what we do is we load the software, all our software tools on each chart. And then we take a look at the different time frames associated with the symbol we're looking at. And that helps us time the trade and get an overall view of what's going on with that particular market. So that's called multiple time frame analysis. I have written a whole online study course on how to set that up if you're interested in applying that in your trading. And it's really, I find it really, really beneficial. On the top, we have the market analyzer running in NinjaTrader. This is the NinjaTrader platform, and that's all our scanners. Now, we're not going to be using the scanners today, but that's what they look like when they run. So getting back to Amazon here, notice that the owl, which is the histogram here, is green now on all time frames. All right, and we got a green PTF. That's this indicator here. The PTF has a 75% accuracy rate. So basically, you take the highest price in the green area, and that's going to be this price here. So we're getting at least above that area here. So if we take the pointer, we can kind of see that it's a 75% probability we're going to go above 106.24, $106.24. It's at 105. We think it's going a lot higher. We think the long-term analysis on this over the next year is going to be around 195 to 265. So that, in our view, is still a buy. So we are still recommending that. We looked at that before, but we do like it still. Now, the other one we like too is Google. Okay. And I'm going to put in GOOG, but it applies for Class A and Class C shares as well. So give that a second to load here. And Google, very similar thing. We've got bullishness across the board for the most part. A little bit of a pullback right now, but nothing to worry about. Target on Google for us is 162 to 211. 162 to 211. So we're kind of liking that a lot. Let's take a look at the cryptos here. You know, we've been recommending the crypto, especially GBTC, which is the ETF for that. And if you're trading the pairs or your futures market on that, basically it's a go, because this will represent pretty much what's going on in those arenas as well. And we like it. We just got a pyramid again after the pullback. All right, let's see if this is working again now. Testing, testing. Give that a second. Let me get a little feedback and then we'll resume here. I think this will be okay now. Not exactly sure why it cut me off, but it did, but I am back. So let's see. Testing, testing. Okay, we're good. All good. All right, excellent. Thanks for holding in there. Yeah, I was presenting and just all of a sudden the thing just cut out on me. So technology is great when it's working, not so great when it's not, right? All right, so back to GBTC. So GBTC is the ETF for Bitcoin. All right, and we got a pyramid trading point entry here from the ART software. It looks really good. I think we got a major bottom here that occurred really back in the beginning or late of 2022. And I think we're going up pretty high in this. I think the first target is around 25 to 37. Ultimate target is above 60. So I'm thinking that's looking pretty good. The other one I like on the crypto range is RIOT, which is RIOT Blocktrain mining company. And this is also a buy. Okay. So I like the crypto still. All right. Yeah, we'll get some pullback on it, but nothing major. So let's put those down still as a good buy. RIOT is just as good in terms of that. All right. Let me just run through silver real quick, and then we'll get to ones you want me to look at. Okay. So I think we're A-okay. I think we're back in the realm here. Silver we like. Okay. We think that is moving. It's been moving up. We've been recommending it for a while. You may get a pullback on it, but we think probably this is getting ready to really go into a major bull market. So we like silver. All right. I think the range, the upper range on silver could be quite high. We could get pretty quickly here above, I would say 30 to 35. And then I think we'll approach the $50 mark on silver at some point. Let's take a look at gold, GLD. And gold is still a good go. It's in the target range right now, but it's got higher highs according to some of our indicators down there. So you can hold on to this. It's probably would have been a better buy down in this area, obviously here. So here's a little speculative. I kind of like silver better, okay, at this particular point. But gold, if you're in it, hold on to it. All right, I want to take a look at USO, which is the oil ETF. And oil's been coming down, all right? And, you know, we issued a long position on this with a bottom right here, okay, with a stop under here. So it's still coming down. We got a red PTF. It's not done. We may get a little move up and then another move down. Let's see if this bottom holds. So I'm not going to recommend it this week because we have a bearish 60-minute chart on this and it's come down. But if you're in it, make sure you have that stop low enough to keep you in it unless it makes a new bottom. So that's getting a little dicey, so to speak. All right. So let's see what you got out there. Let me see before we are cut off if you put any symbols in for me, do it again. Okay. And it has to be either stocks or ETFs. We're not going to do futures. We're not going to do pairs today, Forex, just symbols in the stock market. So if you got any, definitely type those in and I will take a look at them. All right. So AMD, I do want to look at. This is one that we had talked about before, and it was pulling back to a target here. I still don't quite think if you're in this for a long term, you know, your stop is way here because we recommended this a while ago. That's fine. But if you're thinking about going in now for a long position, I think I'd hold off because this is where it's going to retrace to. So it's currently at a price of what, 88.47. I think it's coming down to 77 to 70. And we have a bearish 60-minute chart. So I don't think it's quite done correcting. So I definitely would stay away from that. Okay. All right, Spider, let's take a look at that bad boy, the S&P 500. All right, so here's the Spider. I'm going to open up the long-term chart on this. All right, so I think we're in a long-term bear market now on the Spider and on the markets as a whole. So for me, this is a wave 3 top here, and we're seeing a correction, and this is a complex correction that should resolve itself at some point down. Now, why do I think it's not over? Because if you go back just to 2009 and draw in a fib retracement, using drawing tools here, you're going to see that that target for this, is not been reached yet. And the PTF, which is our indicator here, is indicating with a 75% probability that during the next correction, we're going to go below the COVID low, which created that. So we got quite a downside. I mean, that's 50% down almost, right? So that's kind of where we're at now. So we think we've had the first leg down, and it's a complex correction. So this was an A, this was probably a B up here, C, and then a D. And after D, we should have E wave, which should take us down. Now, originally, we were thinking that after A wave, which was here, we had B wave. This is the Elliott wave count. And then usually C wave takes us down. That's called a normal Elliott wave zigzag correction. That's what they normally look like. You never know in advance that you're going to go into a complex correction until you go into it. So that's what we kind of thought. We thought basically based on that, we would be at this bottom sometime this year. Well, the market has gone into a complex correction. So we have an A, a B, C, D, and we're not sure D is over. We might still be in D, so it could even pop up. And because this is a complex correction, this has added quite a bit of time onto the final time at which the low will be reached. So now we're looking at sometime 2024 for the market to get to the bottom. So that's kind of where we are now. Now, we do think it's going to start to move down there by the end of this year. And in fact, it could happen within the next, by the end of the summer, for all we know. But that's kind of the way it's looking. All right. So beware of that. It's coming. But for right now, we're still enjoying fairly high levels on the market. And until this thing breaks, this is going to be basically going sideways with maybe a little bit more highs before it drops out of bed. So what you want to do, we got some pyramids forming here, both bullish and bearish. So we'll see which one gets hit here first and then take it from there. Okay. So that's kind of what we're thinking on that. So hopefully that helps your understanding of the overall markets. But, when you have a bullish rally inside a long-term bear market, they can last for quite some time. And this one's lasted about 6 months. So not unusual, right? Not unusual. All right. So hopefully that helped you there. All right. Let's see what else we got here. All right. D-Rob, how are you? Let's take a look at W here and see what's cooking on that bad boy. All right. So W has come down off a major sell-off. Okay. We go back to about 2015 in this stock. So we've had a big run up. Okay. Here's probably your 1, 2, 3, and then probably overall a 4, 5. So that ended probably wave 1. So probably we're at wave 2 here. So we'll have to see what happens with this. So it's bottom fishing right now for sure. All right. We've had some improvement on the 60-minute chart, which is on the far left. We still have a red owl on the daily, so I would not go long on that time frame. And we still have a red here. So it's not out of the woods yet. It hasn't proven itself for a sufficient position trade. If you're taking a short-term trade on this time frame, that's going to look a little bit more positive. But I would wait for the pullback and see if you get a fractal entry off our pyramids for that. So that's where it is right now. Okay, so I would put this on the watch list, but it's not a buy at this particular point. We have to have some more momentum, bullish momentum come in. All right, let's see what else is cooking out there. Boy, quiet today. Anything else? Why don't we run over and take a look at the futures market a little bit and see what's cooking on that for day trading time frames. We have a day trading room. So that is another area where we focus. had a nice move down. Look at the pyramids, captured that. So we still use the multiple time frame analysis. However, this is a 15-second, that's right, 15-second chart for the short term. This is a 1-minute chart for the intermediate, and this is a whopping 5-minute chart for the long term. So that's how we break it up when we day trade very short time frames. So we had a nice move down, but notice because this is only a 1-minute chart, you know, this was from 5:15 to about 7. So big trends don't last long on these short day trading time frames. So that was a nice trade. And now, you know, basically the trend has come down and it's basically bracketing, possibly turning back to the upside. We got a pyramid trading point entry here, and our stop would be under here. So you go long here, trail your stops here, and that's where we would be. So at least at this particular point, if you were long off that major trend, you made quite a bit of money on the trend down. And this is gold on the June 23 contract, and that's kind of how it's looking right now. All right, let's go back and see, take a look at Tesla here. And this is for Mark, TSLA. All right, so Tesla had a nice move off its bottom. Okay, so we think on Tesla. I'm going to open up this chart here. Let me just put this over here for a minute and bring Tesla. Now, this is a weekly chart, Mark. Okay, so I just want to explain the overall big picture here. So wave 3 here. Okay, then we had a big move down. So possible 4 here. All right, so that's kind of here. So that's kind of where we were at with this. Now, this did not pull back enough to be a major 4. That was a minor 4. So this is a minor 3, and then this will be your major 3 here. So that's kind of where we're at right now, 4, and we think we're probably going back up at some point, and this should be a bottom that holds. So with that said, all right, we're bullish on Tesla overall. We even have a green PTF down here. And the highest price bar in the green PTF is this one, which is sitting right smack in the range of the wave 5 target zone. So we're looking at right around 418 for a high on that, right? So that's pretty decent. Now, if you look at the underlying charts, however, all right, it's showing more precisely the outline of the correction. So we had this big move off the bottom. And usually when you get a big move off the bottom like that, you do get some form of pullback because that is usually expected in a wave 2 inside a wave 5. So that's kind of what we're looking at now. So it pulled back to the area in which we kind of thought it would. We're seeing some bullishness come back. You can see that in the 60-minute chart. And it hasn't come back enough on the daily chart to warrant a trade at this point. So give it a little more time. Maybe next week we'll look at that and we'll be ready for a long trade. If you're long already based on an earlier entry, okay, then just keep your stop here. All right, so the pyramids had you in here. All right, if you just wanted to trade this first impulsive wave, you would have been out here with a nice profit. But if you wanted to trade the long-term situation, then you'd keep your stop at the first pyramid and just leave it alone. All right, so I don't know what exactly where you are in this, but that's how I would do it. So if you're thinking about going in it now, wait until this pullback can be more defined as being finished, I guess is the best way to put that. All right, so that is that. Let's take a look at TQQQ. And this one is for Jim. Okay, Jim wants to look at this on the 1, 5, and 15 minute. All right, let's run over here to, well, you know what? Let's just change these time frames right here. All right, so 1, 5, we'll make this a 1. Okay, we'll make this a 5. And we'll make this a 15. So he's obviously day trading this. Okay, so there you have it. All right, so big run up, okay, this morning. All right, waiting for a pullback. Here's the way I would play this. All right, so it's kind of a little bit of a messy market in terms of, if you look at the 5-minute chart, I mean, look at that. That's messy. All right, so probably not my favorite stock to do, but a pyramid trading point trade may be PTP scalp trade may be forming, okay? So we had a nice downtrend, took some profits there, all right, but that's over, okay? So now what you probably will want to do here, if you get a decent enough retracement to here and still have the PTF, then you may have an entry possibility here if the risk to reward is 2 to 1. Otherwise, I'd probably just stand down on this for a little bit, okay? Not my favorite setup. Look for something a little bit more concrete. All right, in terms of, I always say, if you have to scratch your head too many times or it looks like a trade you're trying to push, then don't do it. Wait for the trade to jump out at you. Okay. All right, thank you. All right, let's see. Frank, DIA was March 2020 wave through bottom on a long-term chart. Okay, DIA, everybody, you know, we have a service for this called the Moore Report and also the Oracle. And so that kind of is that type of thing. So on the diamonds, all right, March 2020 low, yep, okay, and that was the COVID low, right? All right, so we have a 75% probability of going below that on the next correction. So on the long-term chart, this is going to be very similar to the spider we looked at, remember? So we think the market's going to sell off big time and get down to that area by 2024. All right, Frank? So that's kind of what we're looking at there. All right, Patricia, LNG. All right, let me open up this chart here. Let's just take a look and see what's cooking here. All right, so big move up. Now, what's interesting here is if we looked at it in this range here, this could have been a 3. You had an ABC correction 4, and then a move up. But now the owl is much bigger than this one. So this is your wave 3. So it looks to me like we may be going into some form of correction on that because we have a red owl now. So if we draw the retracements in from 2 to here, we're looking at probably a target right around 130 to 97 for this correction. And then it should go back up, okay, after that. So that's kind of what we're looking at on that. Now, notice too that when you look at the lower time frames, you can see that we are in a downtrend, okay? So we got a lot of red there. So I wouldn't go long on this. In fact, I would wait until you get to the corrective level. If you were long on this, you know, you should have gotten out. The pyramids would have gotten you out here. All right. So here's your long position here. Okay. You trail your stops up. And there you are here. So that would have been a nice run from 2020 on the long-term chart to 2023. Actually, yeah, beginning of 2023. All right, but you're still at the same price level you were, if not a little higher than the stop out point. So you could still get out at a nice profit, wait for the correction, and then go back in. All right, so that's kind of, I do think it's coming down. So if you're still long on that and you want to get out, this is a good point to do that. All right, let's take a look at CHK. All right, so we go back to just about 2021 on this stock. Looks like it had the formation of an impulsive wave here, okay, and then a pullback, and now we're kind of seeing what's going on. Is the pullback done? Let's kind of see if it is. Let's just quickly draw some retracements and see if the possibility of that pullback being done is done. And it hit the target range, right? It's coming back down a little bit right now, but we do have a green PTF still on the 60. So I think this is temporary. I think we're probably close. The only thing that you got to be careful about is this a first big move off the bottom here, okay? And that's basically what we're looking at here. So you got to, you know, you could retrace and touch this bottom for a double bottom, okay? That's possible. So you got to have your stop under here if you're going to stay in this for a long term. If you're thinking about going into it now, I'd wait a little bit and wait until the chart on the 60-minute chart turns a little more bullish because it still possibly could be coming down into a correction. All right. So kind of that's what I'm seeing on that one. But once that correction, once you kind of certify that correction's over, then it should be a pretty decent long trade. All right. Anybody else? Going once, going twice, going 3 times. So just a reminder, next week we're going to skip. We're going to be away next week. So we'll pick it up in 2 weeks. Okay. All right, Kevin, ABNB. All right. Let's see where we're going. Let me just open up that weekly chart. So what I usually like to do is just open the weekly chart up first to get the overall picture of what's going on. So this is a fairly new stock going back to 2021. A little bit irregular, okay? Pretty difficult to figure out an Elliott wave on that because there's just not enough history, all right? But we can see that we have a bearish pyramid here, all right? So, okay, we've got to be a little careful about a long position right now. Let's see what the charts under here are showing. Yeah, so that is, yeah, I think at this particular point, you can find something better than this. Are you already in this or thinking about going into it? ABNB. I would stay, if you're in it already, all right, then you're in it. So just have your stop, I guess, under this area here, maybe under 107.66, so 107.65. And at that particular point, I would probably get out if it goes below that. If you're not in it, I wouldn't go in it. Okay. All right, Mark, Amazon. We looked at Amazon earlier. That was one of the first ones we looked at. But let's go over that again because this is one we really like. Okay. So Amazon is still a buy on our list of stocks. And we think, all right, the target on this, let me just open this chart up here. Okay. Let me just do this. Let me move this and this. Okay. So textbook Elliott wave 3. Okay. That is where we are here. Wave 4. So let's connect the dots. So pretty good clarity. Okay. Nice impulsive wave 3. All right. Owl helped us with that one as well. All right. Then we had a move down into the wave 4 target. So it needed to get here. And wave 4s are reached usually 70% of the time. So it's always nice when they retrace there because it gives you the confidence that the retracement could be over. Then we wait for a green owl, which we got. So not too bad, right? We got a bullish pyramid forming along with a bearish one, but I think the bullish one is probably going to win out. So you could wait for that for your entry. If the lower time frames look good, we can go in early. But I'm really liking that. I'm thinking a target on this of 195 all the way up to 265. Okay, not such a bad one. But don't forget, this is a weekly chart, so you're probably going to take a couple years to get up there. So even though we think the overall market is going to sell off, you may have stocks certainly in the digital arena that do well. And Amazon is one of those types of stocks. Google's another one. All right, so we're liking that. We've got bullishness across the board, it looks like now on the lower time frames. So I'm thinking you could go long on this. So this is a recommendation at this point. Now, if you want to try to stay in this for quite a while, put your stop as low as you can. All right, we haven't gone above this high yet. So I don't want you to put your stop here, and I don't want you to put your stop here. Your stop needs to go down there at this point. If we get above here, then you can move your stop up here. If you're short-term position trading, not trying to stay in for this target way over here, but just taking this up, well, then go ahead and put your stop at the closest pyramid. Your first target is at the PTF high, and you should at least go a little higher than that before having any type of pullback. So I'm thinking this is good, no matter how you look at it. All right, good. You can stay with it. If you got in at 120, just have your stop low enough to keep you in the long-term trend, if that's your ambition on that one, okay? So if you got in at 120, that means you probably got in over here. But then it made another low, I believe, right? So you probably should have gotten out of that when it made another low, but you can get back in it. But if you didn't get out of it, you can stay in it. Just put your stop at that new low area, okay? All right, good. Oh, Kevin's in it at 120, sorry. Mark, not you, Kevin. So Kevin's in it at 120. Let's go back to that. Let me just check for you. So you got in at 120 up here. All right, well, you know, you're not doing too bad on that at this point. Just make sure you have your stop set at a point that your loss doesn't exceed 2% of your account size, okay? All right, well, I think that's it for today, right? I'm not seeing anything else. Short and sweet for today. Okay, Mark, my pleasure, okay? So Amazon we like, Google we like, okay? All right, so let's wrap up here. Let's just take a quick look at some of the ones we like. We liked Amazon, we like GOOG, right? Let's take a look at Google again. Google almost mirrors Amazon in terms of why we like it, because it's coming off a bottom. We have favorable charts on the downside here. You may get a little bit more of a pullback, but from a long-term aspect, it's a great trade with a high of 162 to 211. We like the cryptos are in favor again. They've corrected. We expected a correction, but now they're coming back up. So we think cryptos can be held for quite some time. In fact, I think you'll do really well if you turn your crypto trade into a long-term trade. We like the other Bloctrain we like, okay, RIOT. All right, this is another crypto. Same type of thing. Notice we have the green PTF here, even saying it'll go above $80. So long-term trade. Not going to happen tomorrow, but this is a nice one to hold on to. So these are the winners. Silver we like. We like silver a lot. Okay, it's run up quite a bit, we know, but we think it's got a lot more room to go. Now, a couple things with silver. All right, we do like it. We do recommend it, but you're going to get a pullback at some point. Okay, you just will. And if you're trading this long term, you put your stop under 18, you're not going to have a problem with the pullback. If you're trying to position trade this more short term, you'll have a problem with the pullback. So you might want to wait for the pullback before you go get long, okay? So that's kind of what we're doing. Those are the ones I like the best. Did I miss any? Trying to see if I missed any. I don't think so. All right. So that is it. You guys have a great one. Remember, next week we're going to skip, but we'll return the week after. Okay, so we'll see you back there in the week after. All right, so let me put it over. I'll put it over really quickly on some of the, let's take a look and see how some of these day trading time frames are doing. All right, this is the gold market moving up. Let's see what the S&P E-mini, these are the micros. So that had a beautiful move up this morning. You see how these trends, you have intraday trends. This is a 1 minute time frame. So you can trend trade intraday trends. And they don't last long, but that's how you do it when you day trade. So basically 6 o'clock to about 7:45. So you would have been in this for an hour. And here's the 5 minute chart over there. So pyramids do a great job keeping you in. And primary time frame we use for that is a 1 minute with the 15-second on the left and the 5 minute. So I imagine this is going to go into a correction at this point pretty soon. And let's take a look at the MNQ here. All right, there's the MNQ. Yeah, these are getting ready to correct. And you can see here, all right, the bearish divergence. So you know, beautiful trend up, okay? Beautiful trend up, but you're out. And what you want to look for here is a possible pullback. And you got a very strong owl on the 5 minutes. So I would not recommend necessarily a counter trend trade here, especially with all the PTFs green. I kind of would be trying to get long again if you got out. Okay. All right. Now, Frank wants to take a look at Dash. D-A-S-H. Let's take a look at that bad boy. All right. So Dash is kind of a messy stock at this point. It's not a bad stock. It only goes back to 2021. We're starting to get some type of move up off the bottom, which you can see on the weekly chart. But technically, it's still got an active pyramid to the downside. So that's not a good sign. And this, look how messy this is. That's just messy. All right. So I basically would not recommend this one at this point. Okay. Not for an entry here unless you're going to just trade to this target here, which is not bad. Okay. You could do that, but definitely it's a messy chart. You might want to wait for a breakout a little bit more. Okay. Here above here before going long, because you'll still have a 2-to-1 risk to reward. But what I'm afraid of here now is you might get stuck going sideways. So that's the only thing on Dash that has me pause a little bit at this time. Okay. Earlier, it looked like it was going up, but I think now it may be stuck in a little bit of a range. So wait for it to break out of the range. All right. Okay, good. So just wait on that one. WING for Mark. All right, let's open up the weekly chart and see what's cooking with that one. All right, so very interesting. All right, so we're probably in a wave 5 right now. I think this was higher, so this would have been your 3, your 4, your 5. So the trend is almost done. So that's kind of, well, let me just see. Let's just make sure we got the I have to look at the owl to make sure the owls are correct. So the owl's 45.45. I'm looking over here on this indicator here. So 45, let's see what the highest owl here is. 45.4, 45.4. Let's see what it is here. 48. Okay. So this is a wave 3. This is a 4. This is a 5. The next correction is going to be a doozy down there. Okay. So that's kind of where we're at now. So that's, I would not go long at this point. In fact, you've got a 1-bar reversal setting up right here on this price bar right now. So if prices go 1 tick under here, this would be a good scale out and keep the rest of your positions maybe there for a long-term trade in case it makes another high. But I would be very eager to get out of that trade. All right. Short term, you do have some more highs coming, so you probably can scale out here. And then when these turn yellow again, scale out again, and maybe then use a pyramid on the daily chart for a stop. But this thing is almost done. Doesn't mean it can't go a little higher, but for a new trade, it's pretty risky right now. Okay. All right. Let's see. Tom, do you have our software? Tom is asking, how do I learn to use the pyramids? Okay, first thing you got to do is buy the software. That's step 1. Once you purchase the software, we'll teach you how to use them. We have client support webinars each and every week on Wednesday on how to use our software. But also, too, we have great videos and instructions on it as well. All right, Stan, let's take a look at X. All right, let me open X up here. All right. So big move up there, total collapse all the way down. All right. So now look at that. So since 2009, not a great place to be, right? I don't see much difference now. We have a green PTF, so maybe it'll perk up a little bit. Let me just see what that high is on the PTF here. So we're looking at probably a price of around 38.85. You're at 21, so that's possibly not a bad thing, but it's coming down again. It's messy. All right. The only chart that has a little bit of clarity is the 60, and it's making a new low here. So we may be close to a bottom, but we have a red PTF here. So no go on that. Okay. No entry on that. All right. Anybody else? Going once, going twice. You guys are great. So good ones to look at today. All right. So again, Amazon, the cryptos, GBTC, RIOT, silver looks good. And USO, stay away from that for a little bit. Let's see if that bottom holds. Maybe a buy later on. Oh, TLT. Let's just look at the bonds real quick. All right. TLT is one that I'm really excited about possibly getting in long, but my indicators are saying no. Okay, can't do it yet. So apparently the bottom, according to the PTF, which is this one here, all right, the bottom's not in yet because that's the lowest low in the PTF. So it's saying it's going to go below that. So I don't want to go long on that. We got an active pyramid back on the 1 minute too. So no bond trades today. All right. All right. So that's it, everybody. Thanks for coming. All right. We'll see you back here in 2 weeks. We're going to skip it next week. And again, you guys are great. Thank you for being here. Great opportunities. And I will put the recording up with a timeline a little bit later today. All right. Take care.